Hello and welcome back to the channel, everyone. Heir of Carthage here, and I want you to see something here. This is a 4v4 sub-commanders battle. I want you to look at the name right here. That indeed says Heir of Carthage, and that is not an imposter. That is my own ugly mug in one of these battles. Yes, I went to join Sol Invictus and his Discord group. He was doing an 800 subscriber special, I think, event, and they played a whole bunch of these sub-commander battles, and I got to join several of them. And you get to see me appear in a Rome 2 replay, which has not happened in a very long time. So I appreciate Sol and Hotel Soap and all the other players who have been sending replays. I have a ton of replays in my mail, and I am behind on them. However, I am going to be on vacation next week, and I am hoping to record an absolute crap ton of them so that I could have those scheduled to release next week as well while I'm out, as well as this week. Now, 4v4 sub-commanders, and just so you all know, there was 4 players. You have 3 roles in a typical sub-commander battle, and that is going to be a cavalry player, a melee infantry player, and then you have like a spear and skirmisher player. And then when it comes to 4-player, the 4th one is kind of like an additional support player. Now, I am playing the role of player 4 here, which is that additional support player, and that's why I've chosen Macedon. Macedon actually fits this role pretty good, because the additional support player can bring cavalry. They have to bring, I believe, a minimum of 3 missiles, and Macedon does have access to some good missile options, cheap and expensive. They also have access to good support spears, which is Thurio spears, and so I did bring 3 spears, 3 missiles. I brought a couple of mercenary Thracians, an archer, and then a shield bearer general. I opted not to bring cavalry. And this is going to be my first outing, and I'm not up against the junior varsity crew here. The folks on my team and the 4 players on the other side are all extremely competent players that were in the room, so I'm getting thrown straight into the fire here. As rusty as I am, I'm going to do my best to try and keep pace. These big battles get crazy. There's a lot to pay attention to, and Rome 2 is a fun game, but it can be entirely unforgiving when you get yourself into a bad position and the enemy can start to roll you in a real big hurry. So it is fun, and again, just because there's not magic and single entity monsters doesn't mean that things can't go down quickly, and I'm excited about it. So our team is Macedon, Massilia, Boii, and we're going to have Armenia bringing in the cavalry. Armenia with the cavalry for obvious reasons, horse archers and cataphracts. Boii with the infantry because of the Oathsworn general and the sword followers and Celtic warriors. Massilia is a great spear and missile faction because they have good spears and cheap missiles they can throw out there, so they are a good option for that. They've also got the Massilian Hoplite General. And then, like I said, I chose Macedon and explained why. Let's go look at the other side. Parthia is going to be the cavalry across from us, and on both flanks they have a mercenary Sarmatian horse, which is a lighter horse archer. And they also have a noble one, which is a lot heavier hitting one for later in the game. We're going to have 3 slingers up front. From Pergamon, who is playing the spear and missile support role, and Carthage is an additional spear and missile support, and they are a good faction for this, and Carthage has just gone all out. 3 Cretans, 3 Balearics, and then some late Libyans to guard them, as well as a general's bodyguard, so we are severely outmatched in the missile department in this match. As far as infantry goes, the tribal warriors and Celtic warriors of the Tylus are going to be facing off against us, and as I mentioned, Parthia bringing in that cavalry, though Pergamon did as an extra support faction. I believe they are the player 4 here. They can bring extra cavalry as long as they meet the missile minimum. They can do that, and then they can also bring I think 2 melee infantry, so we are going to see a Galatian sword here on either flank. So that 4th player can bring a little bit of variety into the matchup. So that is the matchup, and we're going to see how this one goes down. We decided to go ahead and move up and get into a position. I mean, it's going to be hard to say what's going to work here, and I'll just let it unfold. I won't tell you all we were discussing until later, and that way I don't ruin any, what's about to happen here. So, but this is going to be a great battle. It's going to be a great battle indeed. Our opponents are good, and like I said, I'm doing my best to not be the weak link in this chain because I haven't played in a while. So we are sitting just outside of skirmish range, and I'll tell you, it was interesting coming back to Rome 2. The way the units move and the way the missile units respond and cavalry responds is very different than Warhammer 3. Sometimes things feel sluggish in Warhammer 3, but in general, Warhammer 3 feels very snappy compared to Rome 2, so you have to be a little bit better on your timing, I feel like, with Rome 2. Just something that this battle is going to end up kind of reminding me about. So the Celtic slingers trading fire with the Pergamene slingers. I'm about to do the same, and we were thinking maybe we could do some overwhelming, but right behind them is the mercenary Balearics. This is just going to be a really tough fight for us. Some cavalry rolling forward from Armenia to threaten the skirmish line, but this is likely a mistake because there's the sheer number of Balearics and archers behind this. Even bringing the cavalry close and then turning their back, if they get shot in the back, it's just going to be absolutely gruesome. So my team opts for kind of an all-out charge here, and I was going to kind of delay my flank and hopefully let my team get some ground over here, because we figured we should have some infantry advantage because of how many skirmishers they have, and we do. However, they don't have to hold an infantry line for long if their skirmishers are targeted well, and they are. Their Cretan archers are just absolutely slicing into the Boii infantry. We're going to see the cataphracts coming in for support here, trying to mow down a path for our infantry, and I'm moving up my own. I do need to try and keep an eye on this flank. I did bring the Thracian warriors to help out against cavalry. They do have a hidden bonus versus large, and they are good against armor, so as long as you don't get them charged, they can be quite useful in certain scraps. Now, immediately I have to pull my slingers back, and I'm having a hard time getting them to really get me the value I want. Here I am getting some hits in these mercenary Balearics, so at the moment, some of my slingers were doing well, but Carthage does really well at keeping most of their units back out of reach while just pouring their support fire into my Boii's allies' infantry here. Their infantry is just getting absolutely shredded. Look at this. So our rush forward is being blunted really nicely by the opposing team, and at this point my team we were kind of in a full-on panic because we could see what was rolling here and it was getting a little bit worrisome. And then all at that time I realized that I'm going to be in big trouble here soon because there's cataphracts moving to my flank. I would have a hard enough time holding off 2 horse archers. All the while I'm being pressured by these tribal warriors, and I am going to try and charge them in the back once they get fixed by the sword followers over here. But I have got so much going on, and I'm so new to the game again, and it's leaving me, miss-microing and just trying to keep up here. So I'm going to do my best, but I've got my slingers running around, kind of stupid, unfortunately. I'm trying to stave off some charges from the front, and I'm trying to get some shots into the enemy as I can. But we have not been able to get cavalry, unfortunately, into their skirmishers, which would have paid dividends really quick. But our cavalry has not been able to find its way home, and Armenia is struggling over here against Parthia's cavalry. And then the nice support here from the Tarentines, though the Armenian player is doing the best they can. It was a tough scenario over here. We kind of ended up overloaded, even though we thought maybe that's where we were going to overload. And I just don't have the hitting power to last long in a fight. I really need to get to these units back here, but if I charge them, my guys are just going to get shot up. If I don't charge them, my guys are just going to get shot up. So I'm low on options, and here comes the cataphracts, and I notice it just a moment too late. I was just like, crap. So I didn't even get a volley off here, so I tried to get a square form, but I know I'm going to get savaged. And I was like, well, maybe I can get some shots out here. But again, the way that missile units respond in this game is much slower. So see, my guys should have been in range, but they slowly wheel around, slowly whip out their swings. And then by the time they take a shot, the cataphracts are gone. And now I have very little protection on this flank, and I'm dealing with noble horse archers out there as well. Power bar is definitely turning against us, as our infantry assault was just blunted entirely by the Carthaginian skirmish domination going on the other side. So it has been very difficult to get any work done. I've got my slingers working on some Cretan archers again. This is good value for me if I can keep it up for very long, but as you can see, I'm slowly being surrounded by cavalry, and my defense is going to be inadequate because I lack the mobility to do much. I do have some Thracian warriors, though, who have been hitting good. I've been kind of charging them into the backs of these infantry fights, and they've found some success. My Thracian warriors have been really my only units that have been of hardly any value to me so far. And unfortunately, it's a tough scenario. So see here, I just don't have what I need to protect my skirmishers. There's not enough units. And so the very intelligent encircling of cavalry here. Now this player playing the cavalry on the other side, I remember, is Wolf Wolda. And boy, he was on fire with his cavalry and really giving me some fits right here. Reminding me why I need to get less rusty at Rome 2, because he's really coming after me hard, and it's great. Some really nice aggressive cavalry work. I came after those cataphracts with a countercharge from my Thracian warriors, but I'm going to pull them back from the swords. I don't want them having to charge that, but of course he's going to turn around and pursue me. I'm definitely caught between a rock and a hard place here, as are most of our remaining skirmishers, so it is going downhill for us at this point, and as you can see, my team is going to lose. So what do we think went wrong here? Our infantry assault happened too soon. We could not have won a standoff fight, but we probably shouldn't have rushed, and where we did that cavalry feint early and then turned around, it just got a lot of our cavalry damaged and didn't do a lot of good. So although we did end up getting shot up really bad on the initial assault, we should have done a little more cat and mouse early with their skirmishers and see if we could have forced a mistake or a good opportunity rather than getting hasty and just going straight for that infantry charge. Because we just got absolutely shut down by the dominant might of Carthage's arrows and sling stones here. I mean, they just absolutely cut us to ribbons. So cool to see my namesake doing something pretty awesome in the battle. I do have some shield bearers fighting, but of course they're not going to be able to hold this. It's too little, too late. The shield bearer, of course, is a decent support unit, all things considered, but you know they're not going to be able to hold on against everything that's out. I mean, look at that, just absolutely shredding archer fire stuff rolling in here. And remember, shield bearers have a ton of armor and really good shields, and even they are melting under this withering barrage of elite missile fire. Just absolutely gruesome. They did do pretty good against that cataphract. And they do have a solid bonus versus large, and they were pretty capable. I had a battle rhythm on there, so they'll get some damage done, but you know, it's not going to work. So, GG, good victory to our opponents. I did not give up after one match. I played 2 more, and of course I'll be showing you those matches as I also show you replays that continue to come in from Soul, Hotel Soap, and others. And I do appreciate them helping to revitalize Rome 2 on the channel, and it was fun for me to get to go take part in this. I did not do really anything impressive here. I think it wasn't great. I did manage to gain a chevron on 2 units, which I'm surprised. My slingers struggled because I just couldn't deploy them. My archer got thwacked. This one Thracian warrior did okay. I got a few rear charges in that really did help us out in cutting down some of this tough Tylesian infantry. But that was about it. I just did not have good effect here. Zephyr did everything he could with his Armenian cavalry contingent, but it was a tough fight. He ended up in a really tough position over there in that left flank, and I think he did the best he could with it. Just wasn't enough. The Royal Cataphracts, though, did pick up some chevrons there. Tough unit. And then Magnus here, holding the Massilian support line. He did better with his slingers by far than I did. He got more kills with them. And then this Massilian Hoplite had a pretty solid outing. So nice work there by Magnus, and little old me here getting crushed. And we got Vortigaunt Sauce here with the Tylesians. Some good kills on some of those tribal warriors. You can see how tanky they are when they get into combat, so a very nice performance there by Tylus. And then Wolf Olda here really laying the hurt down with his cavalry. Those mercenary lancers were a nice unit to support, but I mean, look at the work here with the Eastern Cataphracts, expensive units, horse archers racking it up. So really nice work there. Jawalan here with the Carthaginian skirmish dominance, and you can see it here in the numbers. And then Warlord here bringing in the Pergamene support. Nice job bringing those cheap slingers up, getting the fight started, and then good use of those Tarentine cavalry to support the Parthian players. So I think one thing that we discussed on my side after this was like, dang, we really should have brought more cavalry, and we didn't, and and then we just rushed a little too much. So obviously going into the second battle, we're going to make some adjustments, and we'll see how that goes for us, because we did end up playing another battle against the same team. And I will show you all that one soon. HeirofCarthage signing out for now. I'll see you then.